lost in space, Autobot!
It's May already. Where has the time gone in this year already? But because it's May, that only means one thing.
Megatron Mayhem!
Yeah, not to be confused with monthly Megatron that Theo does. That's definitely for sure. And I can already tell what you're going to say from the thumbnail. Yes. I know this isn't Megatron. No, Megatron Mayhem is where we take a look at some of the most iconic variants of Megatron as well as other leaders of the Decepticons, whether that be from comics, whether that be from TV or film, but we're going to take a look at them. Despite how brief, and I mean brief, this guy was leader of the Decepticons, who put him in charge. We are taking a look at probably one of the largest Starscreams that ever graced the toy stores and the toy aisles. We are taking a look at Transformers Cybertron Supreme Class Starscream. Now, this guy is huge, and I mean huge. Like, this guy is bigger than the Primus figure, which is a Supreme Class as well. I mean, he's big enough to be Unicron's torso. That's saying something. But Starscream in Transformers Cybertron was certainly one of the more interesting and captivating variants of Starscream from the Unicron trilogy. Outside of Armada though. Armada still claims that rank of being by far the best Starscream adaptation we have had. But in terms of toy form, he certainly takes a lot of that inspiration from that Tetrajet style that we saw from the first opening couple of episodes or couple of scenes from G1. And I've got to say, the jet mode itself looks superb. I do love the breakdown of the colours going from that nice silver, greyish, metallic plastic to the nice metallic red paint, the gold paint. It just looks fantastic, and even some of that translucent purple over the figure, it really helps this figure pop. And this wasn't the only Screamer that we got for that year. We also got a smaller variant, which in Japan you could get the same exact colours, probably better paint from this big lad, but over here in the West we got a tiny little thrust coloured Starscream, which was a part of a 2-pack set for Toys R Us, which came with Vector Prime. I've got to say, you can tell the difference instantly between these guys. I mean, I'm having to hold Big Screamer here like a baseball bat. He is huge, but you can definitely see a massive difference in that size and scale. I definitely prefer the smaller Starscream for its size, but the big one definitely takes it away for the colours and the paint. But the jet is easily one of the nicest and cleanest variants that we have had of a Tetrajet or that War Within style Starscream. And funnily enough, we've just had another one from Legacy. Sadly, I won't be taking a look at that because I do not have that yet. But like I said, Starscream definitely takes on a lot more of that shape of the Tetrajet style that we're known for seeing a more Cybertronian Starscream from. And to see it again in Transformers 1 on the trailer, I'm certainly excited to see a new variant of this design come to life. One thing I will mention is the wings definitely look tiny on this guy in comparison to the rest of the jet. He is definitely a big bulky boy. He's not really going to fly far. He's more like a spaceship rather than an actual jet. The tail fin is certainly a thick piece as well. Now he comes with a couple of accessories which you can put together on the jet itself. He comes with probably the most iconic thing that Starscream's known for, outside of taking Megatron's place as leader when he can, his coronation crown, which just fits on his noggin and just fits in place on top of the jet. Yeah, the jet with a crown. I'm pretty sure we only saw this a couple of times during the show for a 5-episode run where Chris McFeely definitely got his kicks from a cosmic empowered Starscream. I will say this though, the smaller one, I do quite like the paint on it, going for more of that thrust style design for him. The silver definitely pops in this mode, as well as that black at the back of the canopy. Going back to the big boy and features that this guy does have, these barrels on the side can individually articulate, so you can have those facing however you want, which is quite cool. But that's enough about the jet mode. Let's get this thing transformed, shall we? I've got to say, there's something very satisfying about that transformation. It's nice and simple, lots of ratchet joints and lots of tight joints. There are points like with the elbow where they don't quite tab in as well as you'd want to. I mean, even when you do get that snap, you're still going to have some issues when trying to pose this guy. And one thing that I do need to mention is of course that crotch plate. If you end up leaving that down, that crotch pit is definitely going to get in the way and make him look funny. The feet, however, if you wanted to, you can give him clown shoes, which is another funny thing that you can do with this figure. I don't know why, but I suppose it fits the theme for Starscream. So yes, in robot mode, this guy is certainly one chunky boy. But I've also got to say that the smaller one does do it better. And that's more in articulation, which I will get to in a second. But this big boy is phenomenal in terms of its colour, its paint. It all just works really well for this guy. A lot of that detailing is still present from that jet mode, but it just shines through a lot more. And that head sculpt, it just screams Screamer. He's definitely an iconic, very iconic design for Starscream. I mean, for how much this guy showed up in Transformers Cybertron, he certainly had his fair share of scenes. This guy is certainly a bit too big. That's why I still prefer this little guy, because the scale just fits right. Yeah, the colours are off, but that doesn't really matter to me. Now, of course, these being Cybertron figures, they have one main important gimmick, that being their Cyberplanet gimmick. By shoving that Cyberplanet key in Starscream's back for the tiny one, you get his flip-out blades. I've got to say, those flip-out blades are absolutely gorgeous, done in a nice transparent purple, and they just fit right to me. Big one, however, you get two Cyberplanet ports, like I'd mentioned before, on his arms, which one gives you a spring-loaded cannon, and the other gives you a flip-out blade, just like the small one. So he's a bit more tooled up, but for me, Screamer definitely looks better with the blades. And one weird thing about this figure is those fists. Why is the peg hole in his fist so small? It's not like he's going to need to hold anything, other than maybe the Omega lock. Even then, I think Unicron does it better. I do quite like the aesthetic of those Cybertron figures, where they're nice clunky big robots, but I do feel like sometimes it gets in the way. Like the articulation for this guy. Articulation wise for the big boy, his head is on a swivel and you can get just about 360 on it if it wants to play around. His shoulders is where I have most of the issues, because you do get a slight in and out, but it stops at the ratchet. To actually access that joint, you have to ratchet that arm forward to then get access to that. Like I said, that elbow joint is not the most secure, but you do get 90 on that. No rotation whatsoever on those parts. His hips are on nice strong ratchet joints, but to be able to access those you do need the arms up, and you do get a nice bit of articulation there. You also get a nice back and forth, although straight is hindered a slight bit by those guns, and back hindered a little by those tail fins. You also get a nice 360 bicep swivel, not bicep swivel, thigh swivel, and a beautiful bend at the knee. You also get a little bit of toe dip, and even the heel can articulate ever so slightly. And this is where the big difference for me comes in with these two figures. The big one is certainly clunky, it's nice, it's like a massive piece for Screamer, but in terms of the articulation, this little guy wins it. All the same articulation as the big boy, except you can actually get those arms up instead of them just being front facing, to be able to have him sort of splaying his swords out ever so slightly. And I know that's a weird thing to compliment a smaller version for being better on, but I much prefer that. Before anyone does ask, no, the small one cannot wear the crown, but the big one certainly can wear the crown, just like every Starscream should be able to. And now he's going to get obliterated by Galvatron. The gun can be held by Little Screamer, and it fits him quite well. However, the big boy, not so much. You can hold it, it just looks kind of tiny in his hands. And when I say tiny, I mean that literally looks like a little pea shooter. Yeah, I don't think you're getting anyone with that, Starscream.
Starscream, what exactly are you doing right now?
Stupid Prime, I have the power of Primus. I shall crush both you and Megatron.
Ah, crap, not again.
Overall, I'd say that these are definitely great figures in their own right. That large one, I'm sure everyone has seen probably every single Transformers convention, whether it be TFCon, TF Nation, you're bound to find one of these, and honestly, you'll find it for around that 40 to 50 mark. It's definitely worth a pickup, even just for the fun factor and the nostalgia factor of a giant Starscream. And yeah, it's definitely a cosmic empowered Starscream, so that kind of ticks one box for us. But if you can get a hold of the smaller variant, the Voyager class variant of Starscream, I definitely recommend getting this one. Yeah, it's probably not going to be as good as the new Legacy one, but if you want one that has all the bells and whistles that you'd expect from a Cybertron figure, that does have the Cyberplanet key gimmick, I definitely recommend it. Yeah, if you want the show accurate one, you're going to have to go down the Japanese route. That's anything pre 2016. That's just how it goes really for Transformers collecting. But they are definitely worthwhile figures to pick up. So just want to say I am very sorry of the fact of the videos have not been every week like I planned and like they used to be. Things have been a bit busy recently, but hopefully we will be back on schedule for Megatron Mayhem month. So hopefully I'll be able to get another video done for next week, but that just depends on what my schedule is like with work and everything. But thank you very much, guys. If you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and I will see you again for the next part of Megatron Mayhem.